Alright people, it is me, Brad the Lad, back again with another video, and today is my refereeing show. Now it's not exactly like a show, it's just like little clip videos and just bringing you up to date about referees and stuff and what I know about the refereeing side of things, because I could possibly be doing it for a career, maybe for football, obviously. You know, obviously there's other sports like rugby refereeing and stuff, but you know, I know a lot about football. I've looked at some of the laws of the game as well. Some of them have changed, and just wanted to tell you a few of those laws that have changed. So obviously now managers can get yellow cards and red cards, and members of the coaching staff as well. There's new goal kick rules. I'm not 100% you know, familiar with them just yet, but this week, you know, if anyone's like superstitious, sometimes I'm a bit superstitious when we have referees and stuff. I know they're thoroughly professional, I know they're not biased. I would never ever accuse a referee of bias, really. You know, I know some people do sometimes, obviously when they're angry, when the team's lost or something, or they've dropped points because of a decision. Referees are human like ourselves, they make mistakes, and you know, that I don't really have a go at referees. Sometimes I used to when I was younger, possibly. You know, sometimes when you know, we're watching another game, my dad, you know, used to shout at the TV. You know, I'm not, you know, we support different clubs. I'm a United fan, he's an Arsenal fan, but sometimes, you know, we just used to say, oh, that it's a referee, you know, referee's done bad there. But you know, I never really like you know, I've never really been an angry person when it comes to ref decisions. You know, I just go like, oh, that's unfortunate. So yeah, so yesterday the match official appointments came out. Obviously there will be VAR in the Premier League this season. So Liverpool against Norwich will be refereed by Michael Oliver. He is the highest, probably the best referee in the Premier League, probably alongside referees like Martin Atkinson. He's also in charge of the game. I'll get to that game in a moment. I was actually, you know, obviously I think it'll be an easy game for Michael Oliver personally. I think it's not, you know, he's one of the highest referees. You know, I'm surprised he kind of got that game. I thought he would have got a different game maybe. I thought he would have, like, I don't know if he might have got United versus Chelsea. Or he might have got another game like West Ham versus Manchester City, but you know, I think it will be a comfortable game for Michael Oliver. I think he's a very good referee. I think he'll manage to handle things well. He's got Andre Mariner as the VAR, and I don't think he'll have too many problems on that front there. So yeah, if there's any Liverpool fans or Norwich fans that want to come and say, you know, what your opinion is on the appointment, you know, I'm happy with that. West Ham against Manchester City, the referee for that game, it's a BT Sport game. It's live, and it's a 12:30 kickoff, like they do when BT Sport first started. Actually, I used to love watching. I prefer it at lunchtime. It feels better when the BT Sport games are on at lunchtime. You know, I don't know why, I just do. Anyway, and the referee of that one is everyone's favourite referee, the soap opera referee, people might want to call him, I don't know, Mr. Mike Dean. I'm not too sure the West Ham fans will be too happy with that. With Man City, he refereed the 6-0 win over Chelsea back in February. I think he's refereed a couple of City games since. I'm not too sure. You know, Dean is not very popular with the West Ham. With the West Ham supporters. So yeah, I think you know, I'm sure there might be some controversial decisions in that one for that the West Ham fans might not be particularly fond of. But nah. Obviously, I respect referees. I think Mike Dean is a referee. He's a no-nonsense referee. He doesn't let anybody, you know, influence him. I think he's a very strong referee. You know, obviously he's very, very experienced, and I don't think he'll have. Well, for the West Ham fans, there might be problems, but I don't think he will have too many problems. Really, I don't think it should be a difficult game for him. Anyway, so I think Mike Dean is an experienced referee. I think he will handle things well, and I think it's a decent appointment. I think it's a sensible appointment made by the people who decide. Because what they've got to do, they've got to decide who the best referee is for each game. They've got to put a strong referee in charge. They can't they can't exactly appoint a referee from the Championship and give them Man United against Liverpool. You just can't do it. They've got to have some experience, and they've got to have some kind of way of handling and dealing with things well. So I think Mike Dean, because of his experience, it's not exactly a big rivalry. Obviously, it's a bit of a Pellegrini derby, but but yeah, I think because Man City's involved, West Ham is a very strong team, so I think it should be an entertaining game at the London Stadium. So the next game we're going to go into is Bournemouth against Sheffield United. The referee for that one is Kevin Friend. Kevin Friend actually refereed Bournemouth on the opening weekend last season in a 2-0 home win over Cardiff City. And I think, obviously, I don't think, sometimes games can spill up some problems. I think Kevin Friend is a decent referee. I think he'll know what he's doing. I think it's not, I don't think he will have too many problems. I think it'll be just ordinary opening day of the season, and if he's got any decisions to make, he will make them. I think Kevin Friend appointment for Bournemouth Sheffield United is quite sensible. He's refereed a couple of big games as well in his career as well. He a few years ago he was a referee and Suarez beat Ivanovic, Liverpool Chelsea. I don't think he saw that. He refereed United's 2-0 victory over Chelsea back in February in the FA Cup. So he has got experience. He refereed the FA Cup final too. So I think he will be able to handle things. Bournemouth, again, yeah, I've just said Bournemouth, haven't I? Silly me. Burnley against Southampton will be refereed by Graham Scott. He refereed the actual Burnley-Southampton game at St Mary's on the opening weekend last season as well. That was a goalless draw between the two teams. I think obviously Graham Scott's familiar with refereeing both of those teams. I think it'll be fine for him. I think he's gaining Premier League experience. I think the last time he refereed Southampton was a 3-3 draw with Bournemouth. I can't particularly remember last time he refereed Burnley, and there probably will be a time. There was a time he refed them against Spurs when they lost 1-0 in the last minute from Christian Eriksen. I don't know if that's the last time he refereed Burnley, but I think again, I don't think it's anything he can't handle. So yeah, I think Graham Scott, he'll have the VAR there. Obviously, all the referees will, so it's not really a problem. So yeah, Graham Scott's in charge of that one. If there's any Burnley or Southampton fans that are not particularly fond of him, obviously I don't think there's any fans that are fond of referees. I mean, I don't mind them. I think they do a good job personally, and I think VAR will help them cut out all the errors. Right, so the next game we've got is Crystal Palace against Everton. The referee for this one is John Moss. John Moss, yeah, he's a strong. Again, I've said this a lot about pretty much every referee. I think, yeah, John Moss is a good referee. A couple of times I've been annoyed by John Moss a couple of times, slightly. He gave a penalty against Arsenal, which wasn't a penalty, and then the last game we lost 2-0 home to Cardiff. It didn't matter anyway, because we weren't getting top four or anything. But he gave a penalty to Cardiff that wasn't a penalty, and that kind of irritated me slightly. But John Moss often has been criticised as a referee. I don't think this game is anything he can't handle. He's refereed this fixture before. He refereed Everton 3, Crystal Palace 1 back in February 2018. He refereed the game at Goodison the season before. So I don't think it's a game John Moss can't handle really. So I think he'll be fine in that one. I think they'll all be pretty much fine really. Watford against Brighton, Craig Pawson as another FIFA referee. I don't think Craig Pawson has any bad history with. I remember Watford against Arsenal. He sent off Troy Deeney, which was an elbow and Torreira controversial incident. I think that's the last time he refereed Watford. I think the last time he refereed Brighton was a 2-1 win against Crystal Palace, where Anthony Knockaert probably should have been sent off for a challenge on. I don't know who it was. I think it was Kouyaté. I don't know. Can't remember. But I know Knockaert should have been sent off in like the opening seconds of that game. But anyway, I think it's a game. I don't think it's anything he can't handle yet again. So I think he'll have an okay game there. Watford against Brighton was actually a fixture that was played out on the opening day of last season, and Watford won that game 2-0. So I'm suggesting Brighton want a bit of revenge. So the next game is Tottenham Hotspur against Aston Villa. The referee of that one is Chris Kavanagh. Chris Kavanagh is a very young referee, and I think he's a very promising prospect for the Premier League. He refereed the Merseyside derby when Origi scored that goal from that Pickford error at Anfield. It was absolute madness. I think he's a really promising referee. I think he will do well in the Premier League as a ref. I think he's very calm. He knows what he's doing, and he's refereed Spurs a couple of times. He refereed both games against Brighton, and I'm not too sure. He refereed Aston Villa's playoff victory over West Brom on penalties in the second leg, and he sent off West Brom's Chris Brunt. So again, I think it's a strong refereeing appointment. Obviously. I don't think, you might not want me to say this, I'm just saying, he's a strong referee. I think he can handle it, and repeating the same thing over and over again. So Chris Kavanagh's from Manchester. I don't think he'll have, I don't think he's got any Spurs related or Aston Villa related. So I think it's a good appointment. So the next game, we're going to move on to Sunday now. Leicester City against Wolves. This is going to be quite an interesting one. Midlands derby. Two teams will be in and around the top 7 of the Premier League, who are expected to be challenging for Europe. I think, this is going to be quite an interesting one. It's Andre Mariner who has been appointed referee of this game. Now, he is from the Midlands, and, people, I don't see it as a controversial appointment. Some people might, because he's from the Midlands. It's a Midlands derby. He's an Aston Villa supporter, he's an experienced referee. He's one of the calmest referees, and I've heard that he gains a lot of respect off the players as well. So I think I think he will handle it perfectly. I think any flash points, I think it'll all be fine. Andre Mariner's a very experienced referee. I've seen the way he handles things on the pitch as well. He's very calm as well. He don't get excited or emotional or anything. He manages to keep his cool, and you need a referee like that. And I'm sure most of them are like that. Mike Dean likes to talk a lot. He likes to communicate. He just finds the whole thing weird. Really, I see him. I don't know. He pulls the expression like how he pulled the expression when when like this. He looked frightened of Fellaini's hair once in a video I saw on YouTube. So, yeah, I think, again, Andre Mariner, experienced. It's very calm, very cool. I think it's a good appointment for a Midlands derby. I don't see it as controversial. The fact he's refereed Aston Villa, he's refereed West Brom a couple of times. There has been some controversial decisions. Obviously, I don't think he's a biased referee. I don't think any of them are, personally. A lot of you people are going to say, oh no, this guy's biased against my team, you know. But yeah, that's the thing really. That's just my view. So the next game is Newcastle United against Arsenal. That will be refereed by Martin Atkinson. Atkinson was actually in charge of Newcastle's 2-1 home defeat to Spurs on the opening weekend of last season. He's refereeing against the other side of North London this time. And it's Steve Bruce's first game as Newcastle manager. Again, I don't think it's anything Martin Atkinson can't handle. Obviously, he's refereed both teams before. He's refereed big games all around the world before as well. So I don't see him having too many problems in this one. I really, really don't. So in the last 3 seasons, Newcastle, well, obviously this season involving this upcoming season, Newcastle have played North London teams at home on the opening weekend of all of them. So Tottenham again, and then Arsenal. So that is quite interesting. And then the final game is Manchester United against Chelsea, and the referee for this one is Anthony Taylor, who lives actually 6 miles away from Old Trafford, apparently. Again, I don't think he's a biased referee. The last time he refereed us was the Manchester derby. We lost that game 3-1. He awarded us a penalty, rightly so, for a challenge on Anthony Martial, and Martial scored the penalty. I might be wrong. It might not have been, the challenge might not have been on Martial, but he did score in that one, Anthony Martial, and he refereed our 3-2 win over Newcastle United, which was one of my favourite games of last season. Yeah, I'm happy with that appointment. I've got no problems with Anthony Taylor refereeing that game. I don't think he has I'm not really a stats person, but sometimes because I'm a bit superstitious, I'm like, oh, when was the last time, has Anthony Taylor got any good records with refereeing Chelsea? And I think the last few times they've lost, he refereed them on the last day of last season when it was a 0-0 draw against Leicester, which I think many people might have thought there would have been goals in that one, but obviously not. So yeah, that is basically what I think of the refereeing stuff. Obviously, I've said there's strong appointments. I think they will be able to handle things. Most of them have. Most of them are FIFA referees. If you're okay with it, I'm not too sure many of you care, to be honest, about this. But in case you wanted to know who the referee was for each game, then great. I've got it out all for you, and what my views are. If there's any incidents in the Premier League this weekend that you might have a disagreement with, or any controversial incidents that you've seen over the week or the weekend, just just try to send them in a link to me, and maybe I could have a look at them. So and then I might give you my view. Or if I do see any controversial incidents, and I'll try pick them out, and I'll try watch them over again, and see what I can do, like Howard Webb used to do for BT Sport. So thank you guys. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Tomorrow is the Phil Neville show. I will be telling you my Premier League predictions for the Premier League table and for this weekend, this weekend's fixtures, Premier League predictions for the scores. And there'll be an update all about Phil. See you later. Goodbye.